novamusic.com.
Brandon Ryan here with Cakewalk, and we're talking about Sonar X1, which is the new version of Sonar. We've kind of redone everything in Sonar, thrown everything out on the table, and put it all back together again in a new and improved way. And as you can see, there's a very new interface, new tools, and the concept with Sonar X1 wasn't really to give you more stuff, but to give you better stuff. And in doing that, we kind of had to redesign everything as if we were doing it all from the ground up, because over the years, we've added many, many new features to Sonar, and as you keep adding things to something, obviously, sometimes it affects the whole thing, and you need to kind of rebuild it. So that's what we did. And the biggest part of this is a thing called Skylight, which is the new user interface in Sonar. And Skylight has a number of different aspects to it. One is the control bar, which you see up top, which opens and closes with the letter C. And this is all your different modules. You can right click and add and take away different modules, so you can set up exactly the controls you want to see, or none of the controls you don't want to see. You can hide that if you're just working on music and you don't need to see all these buttons and things. You can just get rid of them. One of the things we really tried to do was reduce the number of buttons and the number of things that you're confronted with when you're trying to make music. One of the other really important things is the browser over on the right-hand side, which opens and closes with the letter B, amazingly enough. And in the browser, you're able to browse for all of your loops, patterns. You can see everything. Actually, it's in time with the project, and you can just drag these loops right into your project just with simple drag and drop. There are locations of all your different contents. If you like to keep certain loops and instruments in places, you can just go right to them and just drag these things right in. We also have the ability to browse for actual plugins in here, so things like distortion effects or EQs, MIDI effects, virtual instruments, and they can all literally just be dragged into the project. So for instance, if I wanted to bring in, let's say just a simple sampler or something like Drop Zone, I could just bring that in, and it would say okay, and it would instantiate itself, and then boom, I'm ready to go and start playing synthesizers. Very, very simple. And you can organize these plugins and instruments in a way that makes sense to you, so that you can find what you're looking for very easily. And then also the synth rack is right here. And if you want to design this where you like this thing more at the left, it can be over on the left. If you like it on the right, you can put it on the right. It can be completely floated and undocked, and you can just drag it around, take it to another monitor, put it here in the bottom. So the browser, really, really new, nice ergonomic way to make music. On the left-hand side, you see the inspector, and this opens up with the letter I. So again, very logical. This allows you to inspect any of your tracks. If you click on a track, it automatically shows you the name and all the parameters about the track, a description. If you click on a clip, it shows you all the clip properties of that clip. That can also be moved around, floated, put anywhere you want. And then if you double-click on anything, it opens up a view in the bottom called the multi-dock. So if you're looking at MIDI, or you're looking at audio, or let's say you've got something like the console view open, all of these things can live in this multi-dock window. So many, many windows tabbed in the bottom, so they're all very self-contained. And you can open and close that with D, or Shift D will expand it to the full view. And so you'll see that when you're making music, you can very easily get everything right out of your way and just see your tracks and your arrangement. Then when you need more plugins or things like that, you just open your browser. If you need to work on a track, you open that. If you need your controls, you can open that. So it's a very, very ergonomic workspace designed for widescreen, high-definition monitors or multi-monitors. You can take any of these views, and like for instance in this view, and just drag it right out. Drag it over to another monitor, drop it right in here, close it away. So you're not always shuffling windows around and resizing things, minimizing. Really, really nice. Another cool thing it actually does is, for instance, like with, let's bring up an instrument like True Pianos, which I think I've got here somewhere. Let's see, where is True Piano? I think it's in my keyboards. So we bring up something like this. We also have the X-ray function, which allows you to just fade a window into the background and actually work behind it. And then when you want it back again, you just bring it right back again. And then those things can be dropped into the multi-dock. So very, very powerful. I'll just show you just real quickly something here with the console. You'll look at this project, and this is about, I don't know, 60-some tracks of various MIDI and audio. Lots and lots of plugins, lots and lots of EQs. and tons of buses with lots of, so very complex mixing with dozens and dozens of plugins. And I'm running this whole thing, I can open up my preferences with just P, running this whole thing at 2.2 milliseconds of latency, and I can, so with all that going on, and if I actually were to just hit play on this project, which I will do right now, so it's all this stuff is live at 2 milliseconds of latency. And the last thing I want to show you is a thing called the Pro Channel. And the Pro Channel, I'm going to go over to my drum bus here and then open up the inspector. And the Pro Channel gives you sort of the sound of like big epic studio hardware all inside the mixing console of Sonar. So you've got a thing called the PC76. It's a compressor really well designed for doing tracks for like basses and kick drums and snare drums, things like that. And then you also have a bus compressor, which gives you the sound of large format consoles, that kind of glue sound. They all have wet-dry controls, which allows you to get instant parallel compression, which is a really good technique for getting, you know, sort of that punchy sound, but also a big sound. It usually requires complex routing. We just have one knob to be able to do it. Really, really versatile EQ, sounds beautiful, has different modes for pure, vintage, and modern for different characteristics. Tube saturation built in, and then the ability to reroute all these plugins. And I'll just give you an idea of like what we could do on the drums here. I'm going to just solo out the drums. There's a bus called Drum Crush, which I'm going to put the tube compressor on. I'm sorry, the bus compression. And there's some presets. I'm going to load up one called Slammed. You hear right away. I'll turn it off. That's without. Here it is with it. I can make it more wet. Little EQ. Really nice, beautiful EQ. And then tube saturation. So you have these on every single channel. You go in here to gain, and you can see that every single channel has these very, very versatile, nice compressors, EQs, tube saturation, all built in. So 3 versions of the product. There's Essential, which is $99, which has a matrix view and step sequencing and all this. Studio version, $199, which basically has all the core functionality of Sonar for the first time ever, minus a lot of effects and instruments, no Pro Channel, but $199. And then $399 is the producer version, which basically has everything, put it in, and you could make a record. In fact, a lot of the projects you'll see here, internationally released stuff, and every single thing, every effect and all was done completely in Sonar with just stuff that's in that box. So that's all I have for you. Thanks very much. That was for video.